Hey guys, welcome back to Unfinished Farm. Today we're going to start a project, not start a project, we're going to continue a project that was started about 2 years ago when my wife found this door on Facebook Marketplace. It's a solid wood door, came off a house that was being renovated in Atlanta, and my wife loved the style of it. We had a similar door, but it was fiberglass on the previous house that we lived in. So she got it, and I started to work on it, and that was almost 2 years ago. So this is as far as we've gotten. I've cut it down to fit the opening that we have here at the house, and I'll pull the camera in just a few minutes, and we'll show you some of the other stuff that I had to do to get this door to this point. And then what the plan is we're going to strip off all this old paint and refinish the door. There's a piece of glass that I put a piece of plywood in, so there's a lot of work to do to the door before I can put it in the opening, and we're going to get started today. Alright guys, so here's the door. There's a few things I had to do to it. This thing over the years has had lock sets put on both sides of it. There was an automatic closer put up there at the top. I believe the house that it came off of was built somewhere around the turn of the last century and then was turned into a boarding house like so many of those older homes get turned into, and whoever bought it was turning it back into a home. So a few things I had to do was I had to make a piece here. I made it out of heart pine. Mortise and tinted it back into a solid piece, so when I put the lock set in, there's plenty of meat behind it there. This also, because I had to take 2 inches out of this side and 2 inches out of this side, a standard lock deadbolt set will not work. I've got to order one of those to get that. On this side, they had a mortised lock set, so I made a block there, glued it, put it in there. Put some filler on the holes because this will actually be the hinge side of the door, and you can see the paint. Some of it, well, I don't know how many layers there are. There's more than 3 for sure. And so what I've done is just kind of scraped what would fall off, so when I go to put the stripper on there, it'll get underneath it, and hopefully it won't take so long. This is the plywood window that we're talking about. The back side of the door looks to be in better shape than the front side, of course, because the front side gets all the weather. So hopefully there won't be as much stripping on the back side. So it's a beautiful door. Like I said, solid wood. I mean, if you were to buy this door or order it at a big box store or something, you'd be looking $1,500 plus just for the door. So we bought it for $150, and if you put the 30 minutes of time that I have in it right now, you know, you're going to come out ahead. Now, when you buy something like this, it's always going to be some work to get it to fit the opening. We have a bricked in front door, so there's not a lot of fudge room, so it's got to be pretty exact. So it'll take some finagling to get it in there, but I think it'll be beautiful when we get it done. And so today, we're just going to start by stripping all the paint off. And that's a ton of fun. So anyway, come along with me. Hope you learned something. And please hit like, subscribe, and smash that bell. All right, guys, we got it all set up. We're gonna strip all this old paint off. And you can see where I've sanded. Everything is sound. There's really no water damage or anything wrong with the door. So today what we're gonna use is this citrus strip. You can get this at Home Depot. I prefer it because the other stuff is just real toxic and caustic, and you don't want to get that on your hands. You certainly don't want to be breathing it in. So this stuff, you don't have to wear a mask. You still don't want to get it all over your hands, so I would wear gloves, even though I'm not. So yeah, first step, protect hands with chemical resistant gloves. I might go get some. Shake well, pour in a container, apply. I just pour directly on the workpiece. And then you're supposed to let it sit for about 30 minutes to kind of let it get in. I don't think 30 minutes is going to do it here. We may end up having to let it sit overnight, just because I know there's lead paint on this, there's latex on top of that. So this door, like I said, it's 100 years old, so it's got all kinds of stuff on it. So we're gonna just do that and see, hopefully when we're done, we've got a beautiful Craftsman style door. Here we go. All right, guys, there we go. We've got it all covered liberally in the with the citrus strip. We now just have to let it sit, and hopefully not overnight. We'll come back in about an hour or so and just kind of scrape it in a few spots to see what kind of a release we've got on it, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, here's where we're at. Let it sit for about, I guess, an hour and a half or so, and this is what we're doing. It's getting through several layers of the paint. There's many more layers to go. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and spare you and scrape all this off. I'm going to put a second coat on and let it go overnight, and then see what we look like tomorrow. Always use a plastic scraper so you don't gouge and mar up your wood or your work surface that you're dealing with. There's nothing fun about this, but this is the right way to do it. If you paint over all this stuff, then it'll just keep cracking and flaking on you and won't be any good. So just takes time. Something about that's satisfying though. So we'll check back in tomorrow after this is set and baked overnight, and we'll see how it goes. All right, we got the second coat on. We're going to let it soak underneath this plastic for about 24 hours, and then we'll come back and scrape it off, and hopefully that will be the last coat that we have to put on there before we can start the refinishing process. So stay tuned, and we'll see how it goes. All right, good morning, guys. This is day, so we started on Saturday. This is Monday. The stuff wasn't coming off real good, so I ended up just putting a nice thick layer on here, and then it said to cover it with plastic to keep all that in. So hopefully this will be it. We can get this off and just kind of do it. Ooh, it's sticking to the plastic. That's good. Do a little test patch here. Seeing wood grain, so that's good. Yeah. There we go. It's still a little tough, but we're seeing wood grain, so hopefully we can neutralize this stuff and sand the rest of it off. So I guess there's only one thing to do. Let's scrape all this crap off. So when you're doing something like this, it's really important to take your time to do it right. There's all kinds of little details in here that have been filled up by paint over the years. So this door will really come to life when we get all the paint and junk off of it. Now again, listen, This door cost us $150. Solid wood. It's over 100 years old. If you were to buy even a fiberglass one, it's $1,000. So the quality of this door is well worth the effort that we're putting into restoring it, because we couldn't buy one for what we're going to have in it. Right now I've got really so far just the stripper, which was I think 20 bucks maybe. Again, that was the citrus strip, non-toxic. So it may seem like a lot of work, and it really is a lot of work, but again, for what the door is, you couldn't buy one for what we're doing it for. So I'm gonna quit talking, and I'm gonna get to work scraping all the old paint off of it. You can see we are down to the bottom layer. Like I said, I want to neutralize this and just try and sand everything. But I'm going to spare you guys the rest of the scraping, and I'll give you another shot whenever we're done with it and see where we go from there. We got to neutralize the stripper, and then we'll sand it and see what we got. Here we go. That's the surface that we'll paint right there. This was after 2 applications of the stripper. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get this as flat as possible. I'm not worried about getting all the paint off of it, just as long as it's smooth. Right here, there's a lot of alligator, that's a new word. So I'm hitting all this with a sander and just getting it smooth like this, and then I'll go back over it one time with mineral spirits just to get all the residue and junk off of it, and repeat the process for the back side, and then we'll be ready to paint and make this door look like new, which we'll do in part 2. If you're going to do this, get lots of sanding pads. You can see once this crap gets built up on, you don't need to keep using it because it'll just kind of keep grinding it into the surface, and then you have to use more sanding pads to get it off. So sit back and enjoy this. This stripping took me probably 2.5 hours to get in there and really get everything as much as possible. Not everything is out, but it's an old door. We're not going for absolute perfection, but as close as we can get it. And yeah, it'll look brand new by the time we're done with it. So I've got a bunch more sanding to do, so you guys sit back and enjoy me working, and we'll come back after it's over, after I'm done, and we will check it out, see what we got. That is all the sanding disc that I went through to get it to this point right here, which we're good to prime and to paint, which we'll do that on the next video. Swap out this window. Waiting on the lock set. I have to order it tonight. Hopefully it'll be here soon. Like I was telling you, with the lock set, because I had to cut the door down when I do the lock set, I need a smaller back set. And back set is from the center of your striker or your deadbolt out. Okay, so this is the smallest you can make a standard one is 2 3/8. And if it's 2 3/8 with a slight inset right there, this is where this ends up. Now, I don't know if you can see that real good, but that's out here into the panel. So I thought it'd be a little bit easier to find than it is, but it's not. Found a place. I'll put a link in the description below if you run into the same thing. But all in all, it looks great. Had probably 4 hours, 4.5 hours in scraping, sanding. All in all, like I said, it turned out real good. I think there's no, you can see this door. I mean, there's no soft spots in it. And this is usually the worst area because it catches all the water that bounces up. And everything is rock solid. So again, it's still way cheaper than you could go out and buy it yourself. So the next video, we'll slap some paint on it. Hopefully have the lock set in. I'll show you how to install one of those. And then we'll hang it into the opening, and my wife will be incredibly pleased. So what I'm not going to show you is I've got to do the same thing on the back side as I did on the front side. It's boring to me. I'm sure it's boring to you. This is how you get it done though. And yeah, so we will see you next time.